Lesson 5 I call My Life with Trust Before and After. First, a recap of Lesson 4. In Lesson 4, I described the 7 categories of how I apply bitachon in my life. Matters regarding 1. Me, myself, and I. 2. My money and my stuff. 3. My wife and kids, friends and enemies. 4. Mitzvahs that I do all alone, Han Solo. 5. Takes 2 to tango, mitzvahs that I do with others. 6. My reward in the world to come. And 7. Earning brownie points for the world to come. In Lesson 5, I'm going to describe my life with trust before and after. What do I mean? Let me tell you the 7 differences that I experience in my life now that I'm trusting in God versus how I lived before when I wasn't. Now that I'm trusting in God, I am 1. Thankful. 2. Happy-go-lucky. 3. Stable. 4. Generous. 5. Ethical. 6. Beloved. And 7. Satisfied. But before I started trusting in God, I was the exact opposite. 1. Thankless. 2. Miserable. 3. Fickle. 4. Greedy. 5. Unethical. 6. Hated. And 7. Dissatisfied. Let me go through the 7 ways that my life was different now versus before I had trust. Number 1. Always thankful versus thankless. First, now I'm always thankful. Now that I'm trusting in God, I willingly accept His judgment in all matters and thank Him for both the good and the bad. I'm obligated to bless God for the bad in the same manner as I bless Him for the good, Conversely, before I started trusting in God, I would praise and glorify myself for the good that befalls me, and I'd get angry at God for the bad that would befall me. Number 2, happy versus miserable. Second, I'm always happy. Now that I'm trusting in God, my soul and heart are at ease with respect to all of God's decrees, due to my knowledge that the Creator directs everything for my good, both in this world and the world to come. Conversely, before I started trusting in God, I'd get stuck in a state of constant grief and protracted anxiety. Mourning and sadness would never depart from me, both when things were going well for me and when they weren't. When things were going well for me, I was sad and anxious because of my lack of satisfaction, due to my incessant aspirations to add, increase, and amass wealth. And when things were going badly for me, I was sad and anxious, loathing my situation, which goes against my desires, nature, and character traits. Number 3, stable versus fickle. Third, now I'm always stable. Now that I'm trusting in God, when involving myself in a means of making a living, I don't rely on them, nor expect the job to either benefit or harm me unless God wills it to be. The only reason I keep my day job is because this is how I serve my Creator, who instructed me to involve myself in the world to settle and correct it. If my day job somehow benefits me or protects me from harm, I thank God alone for it. I never increase my love or affection for my job, nor is my mind more at ease when I'm getting a paycheck. Rather, I strengthen my trust in God and rely on Him alone and not at all on the job or the paycheck. If the Benjamins from my day job aren't enough to pay the bills, I understand that my livelihood will reach me some other way when God wills it to come, and in whichever manner He decides. I'm not going to quit my day job since my ultimate goal is in serving God. Conversely, before I started trusting in God, I would only take a day job as long as I was getting a fat paycheck. I would praise my choice of profession and the efforts that I'm putting into it. But the moment the job wasn't paying me for what I think I'm worth, I'm out of there, off to a higher paying position. Number 4, generous versus greedy. Now I'm always generous. Now that I'm trusting in God, when I have more than enough money to cover my bills, I spend any surplus on things that will please my Creator. I give tzedakah generously and from the goodness of my heart. Conversely, before I started trusting in God, I felt like the entire world and all that is in it wasn't enough to cover my monthly overhead and satisfy my needs. I was so concerned about my money that I would never use my moolah to fulfill my obligations towards God and other people. Because of this stingy behavior, God made me lose all of my money. Number 5, ethical versus unethical. Now I'm always ethical. Now that I'm trusting in God, I see my day job as a means to prepare myself for the end of days and for my ultimate resting place in the world to come. I only engage in ethical activities that clearly allow me to preserve my Torah learning and my world to come. I never take any work that might cause me to lose my Torah learning or that may lead me to sin, God forbid, so that I won't bring upon myself illness instead of healing. Conversely, before I started trusting in God, I put my reliance on my job and my paycheck and felt comforted because of them. I wouldn't care about engaging in inappropriate or unethical means to get ahead. Number 6, beloved versus hated. Now I'm always loved and beloved. Now that I'm trusting in God, I'm beloved by all types of people. They feel at ease with me because they feel secure that I won't harm them, and their hearts are at peace because of me. They're not afraid that I might try to snatch their wives or the money. I also feel secure with them because I know that no creation has any power to benefit or harm me, nor is it in their power to do either good or bad to me. I'm not afraid of others harming me, just as I don't expect others to benefit me. Since I feel secure with them, and they with me, I love them and they love me. Conversely, before I started trusting in God, I had no real friends because I was always coveting what others have and was always jealous of them. It's a zero-sum game, I thought. Any good that comes to others feels like it's being taken away from me. Whatever money they have feels like money that I've lost. I blamed others for any and all of my unfulfilled desires since I mistakenly believed that they could have helped me to achieve my desires, but didn't. When something bad happened to me, such as troubles with my money or kids, I just blamed everybody, since I assumed that others could have helped me by ridding me of harm and pushing away the bad, but they didn't. I would despise others and denigrate them, curse them and hate them. I became loathed and disgraced in this world and the next. Number 7, satisfied versus dissatisfied. Now I'm always satisfied. Now that I'm trusting in God, I'm always satisfied with my lot, even if my request was denied or I lose something that was beloved to me. I don't hoard my possessions, nor concern myself with making more money than what I need for today alone. I don't worry about tomorrow, since who knows when my end will come. Just as I rely on God to lengthen my life, so too I rely on Him to provide me with food and money for my entire lifetime. I don't rejoice in anticipation for something good that's coming my way in the future, nor worry about any future bad that may befall me. My motto is, why worry about the future? Who knows if I'll even be alive tomorrow? Rather, the only thing that I do worry about is how to fulfill my obligations to the Creator, the mitzvahs and the duties of my heart. I think seriously about my death one day, when my soul will be gathered back to its source in the world to come. My fear of sudden death arouses in me an alertness to increase my efforts and prepare provisions for the end of my days. Repent one day before your death means I repent today, since perhaps I will die tomorrow. Conversely, before I started trusting in God, I would feel greatly pained due to the constant troubles befalling me, the loss of friends, and my requests being denied. I saved up a great fortune for myself, as if I was assured to live forever. I had no fear of death, as if my days would never cease and my life would never end. I ignored matters of Torah observance and provisions for the world to come. My confidence that I would live a long life in this world was the cause for my constant desires for personal matters and subsequent decreased desire in spiritual matters that are needed for the world to come. If someone rebuked me saying, "Until when will you be unconcerned about preparing provisions for the world to come?" I responded with chutzpah saying, I'll get around to serving God one day. When I saved enough money to provide for 1, my food and other needs, and 2, for the needs of my wife and kids for our entire lives, only then would I rest my mind from the worries of this world, turn to pay my responsibilities to my Creator, and think about the means that will enable me to obtain provisions for the world to come. So these are the 7 ways I live now, trusting in God versus before when I didn't. Number 1, thankful versus thankless. 2, happy versus miserable. 3, stable versus fickle. 4, generous versus greedy. 5, ethical versus unethical. 6, beloved versus hated. And 7, satisfied versus dissatisfied. I'm glad that I'm now living a life with trust. Wouldn't you be too?